Good evening, my fellow Americans.
Fellow citizens.
My fellow citizens.
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
Good evening.
My fellow Americans.
Fellow citizens.
My fellow citizens.
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
Good evening, my fellow Americans.
Fellow citizens.
My fellow citizens.
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
Good evening.
My fellow Americans.
Fellow citizens.
My fellow citizens.
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned
Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish the same fake stories without checking facts first.
the sharing of biased and false
News has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the community use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility.
The news site Deadspin recently produced a mashup video that went viral and unsettled many Americans.
Plaguing our country.
It exposed how America's largest broadcaster forced its local anchors to read an Orwellian script. The Sinclair Broadcasting Group demanded its local anchors recite the same lines, demonizing media and sowing distrust, with warnings like this.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
What's worse, if you actually watch Sinclair's programming, you'll see they violate almost everything they warn against.
So far, no hearings on the big uranium deal.
That's right. That's a Sinclair host promoting the debunked conspiracy theory that Hillary Clinton gave away 20% of America's uranium to Russia.
That could involve kickbacks to the Clinton Foundation.
Oh, and here's another segment alluding to the baseless conspiracy theory that a Democratic staffer was murdered for leaking party emails to WikiLeaks.
There's a theory Democratic National Committee emails were given to WikiLeaks by a DNC whistleblower who was later gunned down. Maybe it was him. Maybe it was the Russians.
And what about this warning?
Some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to...
Personal bias? Well, Sinclair actually... And what about this warning?
Some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to...
Personal bias? Well, Sinclair actually has an entire syndicated segment that does exactly that. The host is a former Trump media advisor. Local Sinclair stations are forced to broadcast his pieces multiple times a week. Predictably, they almost always defend Trump.
Facts show that our country is
Advisor. Local Sinclair stations are forced to broadcast his pieces multiple times a week. Predictably, they almost always defend Trump.
Facts show that our country is fine and it is heading in the right direction.
And this third warning from Sinclair.
We are concerned about the troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
Sinclair even dedicated a segment to the existence of a secretive deep state, void of any evidence.
It's a term President Trump tweeted about earlier this year.
The main source, another former Trump advisor, Sebastian Gorka.
Talking at the highest levels of U.S. government.
The main facts, a public opinion poll. The only skepticism offered in the 2-minute piece were these 6 seconds.
Some critics call the deep state a conspiracy theory peddled by Republicans hoping to undermine the FBI.
Clearly, Sinclair doesn't practice what they preach. Large corporations with partisan agendas should not be broadcasting into 72% of American households under the guise of local news. That were these 6 seconds.
Some critics call the deep state a conspiracy theory peddled by Republicans hoping to undermine the FBI.
Clearly, Sinclair doesn't practice what they preach. Large corporations with partisan agendas should not be broadcasting into 72% of American households.
Shalom Yasharala, all praises and glory goes to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and salutations to the elect men feeding the sheep of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Sincerity and truth with this great gospel coming out of our Bible. Coming out of our Bible. And if you're in the Bible, man, you ain't gonna fall victim to these deceptive spirits, right? Right, because Esau got a bunch of propaganda to lead you astray, right? This is a what they say, a forger of lies, a physician of no value. Let's get that. Job 13:4 it says, "But ye are forgers of lies; ye are all physicians of no value." Right? One thing you got to understand about Esau Edom, the truth is not in him. Like the scriptures also say. Let's get that. John 8:44 it says, "Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do." Talking about you Israelites following after Esau Edom. Right, it says, "Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do." He was a murderer from the beginning, and he abode not in the truth. Right? There's no truth in Esau Edom because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar, and what the father of it. Right? He got a whole propaganda system based around lies and deception, right? And manipulation, getting you to think a certain way, getting you to vote a certain way, getting you to buy a certain way, getting you to shop a certain way, getting you to spend a certain way, think a certain way, worship a certain way, getting you to go the fuck off, right? They getting you to go the fuck off because this is one of Satan's devices, right? Let's get that also. 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not what? We are not ignorant of his devices, right? His devices, right? Because we know he's using different tools to, what? Destroy the souls of motherfuckers. Keep Jake going off. Really, it's all about keeping you in darkness, right? As long as you in deep darkness, he gets to rule. But the Lord is what? Waking our people up out of this dark state, man, right? A lot of our people are no longer going to what? The regular news channels, right? The CNNs, the MSNBCs, the Fox News, right? They go into social medias, they go on YouTube and different platforms to find out information. Because this man has been found out to be what? A liar, right? It says that Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are what? Not ignorant of his devices. Here we go. Let's go to this right here. What's happening in the world of false, fake news, right? Like Donald DJT say, fake news. Right, the fake news network, the media, Esau's weapon of mass distraction and mass confusion, right? It says CNN staffer is deeply frustrated as looming budget cuts, right? Layoffs impact networks struggling, layoffs set to impact struggling network, right? CNN, right? The confused news network, right? All they do, they making up shit. Because they mad everything's going to not according to the way they want it, right? A Democratic news network who's mad that these Republicans taking over shit. So all they got, they lying like a motherfucker. They talking about, oh, Kamala's up in points. Kamala got more points than Trump, right? The whole 6 months, 3 months of her, whatever, running for her president candidacy, right? They said she was up in points, and come to find out the bitch ain't had nothing close to this man, right? It says, so they've been lying like a motherfucker. CNN staffers deeply frustrated as looming budget cuts, layoffs set to impact struggling network. The CW undergoes layoffs as it seeks to transform networks to reach broader audience. CNN will ask top stars, right? So you want to be a star? Top stars and layoffs that see hundreds, how many hundreds fired as ratings continue to tank, right? CNN boss Mark Thompson to lay off hundreds after what? Election day ratings, right? It's a bad time for you entertainers, right? CNN will ask top stars and layoffs that'll see hundreds fired as ratings continue to tank. It says CNN is planning to wield the axe on some of its high-paid staff after dismal election ratings that cap off a disastrous period for the cable news network. According to an explosive new report from Puck Network executives will unleash sweeping layoffs in a bid to save the network's failing reputation. Right? Everybody know these motherfuckers are forgers of lies. Right? It says it comes after the departure of stalwart Chris Wallace, and amid reports senior stars like Wolf Blitzer and Jake Tapper have both been what? Denied raises. Right? It's an end of propaganda. Right? What does the Bible say? Right? Ain't too much talking. Let's see what the Bible say. Proverbs 12 verse 19. It says, the lip of truth shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. A lying tongue is but for a moment, right? CNN, we looking at what, 30, 40 years of lying like a motherfucker. They had that shit in the 90s where the dude act like he in the Middle East. This nigga in a studio somewhere with a fake backdrop, right? The fake news, right? It says the lip of truth shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment, right? It's time for these devils to go down, for all this deception and deceiving, right? And send-offing, right? Misguiding people, right? Into the direction of death, right? Direction of death. Got you voting for people who don't give a fuck about you, right? Got you putting devil worshippers and entertainers above you, right? It says an evil in America. Propaganda, the true Hollywood story, right? Of how the left took over your TV, right? The left took over your TV. All of them took over your TV. It ain't just left, right? Satan took over your TV. This is one of Satan's devices, a television. They're telling you a vision that they want you to follow, right? That's why you see most of the people you run into in the streets, they remind you of a character that you see on what? Television, because they're following after that television, right? And that vision is not a truth, right? Here's what the Bible say, Proverbs 6, and let's go to 16. It says, these 6 things doth the Lord hate. Yea, 7 and are an abomination unto him. A proud look, right? A lying tongue, a hands that shed innocent blood. It says a proud look and a lying tongue, right? These motherfucking news announcers be proud as hell. They getting paid good money to lie to people. And hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. Right? They don't put these different propaganda platforms together to keep you in deep darkness, to keep you following after Satan, to keep you going off, to keep you on drugs, right? To keep you spending, to keep you lusting after a woman, right? To keep you self-worship and self-indulgence. Feet that be swift in running to mischief. A false witness that speaketh lies. Right, that's what they do. A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. And that's what they do in the news too. Set divide and conquer, always putting the blacks and Hispanics against each other. Right, always putting our people against their own selves, right? Because that's what they do. It's divide and conquer. We understand this man's art of war and his method of operation. His method of operation, Proverbs 19 and 9. A false witness shall not be unpunished. Right? A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish. Shall perish. Right? Prepare to see the demise of a lot of these people who've been telling lies in this society. Right? Because what's being established? The lips of truth. Right? The lips of truth is being established on the earth through what do the prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right? Proverbs 12 and 22 says, lying lips are an abomination unto Yahweh, but they that deal truly are his delight, right? That truth, right? It should be your good pleasure to feed the sheep of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai with this great gospel. That's only for the house of Israel. It ain't for everybody else, right? Them lies and that deception was for Satan, but this truth is for us. So we gotta, how can we say, love this truth, man? And push this gospel, right? Psalms 101 and 7, it says, he that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight, right? It's a lot of you jakes who done took that bag and you working for this devil system, telling what? Telling lies. Telling lies, making it look like our people have a chance to be part of this man's society, knowing that they don't want your punk ass around. Right? They don't want you Negroes and Hispanics around, right? They really want you to fuck up out of here, and that's what they about to work on when they put this man in office, right? Mass migration, mass deportation, mass incarceration, right? Take away your goodies, your gifts, your public aid, your food stamps, your Section 8s, right? All these things that you depend on from this devil, right? Proverbs 12:19, it says, I'm going to read this again. The lips of truth shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment, It's Matthew 15, let's go to 18. It says, but those things which proceed out of the mouth, come forth from the heart, and they defile a man. For out of the heart proceedeth evil thoughts, murderers, adultery, fornication, theft, false witnesses, blasphemy. Right? Ain't that what they be speaking on that media? On your television, on your news, on your Hollywood stations? Right? They want you to be a murderer, adulterer, fornicator, a thief, a false witness, blasphemy. Right? These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defile not a man. Right? I brought out this verse because what do the television promote to you? Everything that this verse in 19 speaks about. Right? They know how to keep you going off. They know how to keep you against your power. Right? Because it talks about who shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Right? All these people with these wicked ass spirits, man, following after Satan, they ain't gonna make it. I'm gonna end it with Revelation 12:9. It says, and that great dragon was cast out. Right? That old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Right? The so-called white man. You go back in the 80s and the 90s, right, man? They were begging for white man's media, for white man's movies, white man's music, American media, right? And this shit went out through the whole world, deceiving the people. You got people with a gangbanging spirit, a homosexual spirit, a thug spirit, a high-minded spirit, right? These people used to care about their family members. They don't give a fuck about nobody no more, following after this man, this devil, right, who specializes in promoting what wickedness, man. It says, and that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him, right? And guess what? After they eat a missile, what their ass is going in pure captivity. Pure captivity is going to be the end of their deceiving. Shalom.